Hello and welcome to This is MediaCity. I'm Stephen Chapman and today I am joined by Adam Farricker, who is the CEO of HideOut Youth Zones. Hey, how are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Well, so we're going to be talking about the impact your charity has on young people in Greater Manchester and also the very recently opened Salford Youth Zone, which is very exciting. But before we do all of that, we've got to get you warmed up. So I'm going to give you some icebreakers so that we can find out a bit more about Adam Farricker.
Just choose any.
Choose whatever you want.
Teams or face-to-face? Definitely face-to-face.
It's is it one of those that it's someone gives you the option, it's like not a chance.
I just like that personal interaction. I don't think there's anything better than that. And in the kind of the area of work that I'm in as well, in terms of engaging young people, it's always better if you can do that face-to-face. So I try to carry that through to any meetings or professional partners that we're working with as well.
We've only had this question a couple of times, and I'll be honest, face-to-face always wins. Sorry, teams. I'll give you one more.
Biggest bugbear? Lateness.
You were early today.
I better
point that out.
And that's not on purpose. I wasn't saying it for that reason. I think I've not got a lot of patience as it is. But yeah, people making me wait or being late, that winds me up. It's a respect thing.
Fair enough. Well, it's a good thing we started early. We were due to start at 10 and we started early. So I'm hoping that bodes well for the rest of the podcast. We were set up early too. Let's talk about Empower because it's been going some time now, hasn't it? I know Salford's a new one, but you've been around for a while.
Yeah, I mean the charity was legally formed back in 2017 as an organisation, and the first youth zone that we opened was HideOut Youth Zone in East Manchester. That was back in 2020. Interesting story there. We actually got the keys to the building. The practical completion date was the 23rd of March 2020. So we got the keys from Domis, the contractor, at 12 p.m. and at 8 p.m. Prime Minister Boris announced the first national lockdown. So literally within 6 or 7 hours of getting the keys, we went into lockdown. So it was a crazy time in terms of getting a new youth zone. Just recruited a load of staff, and we couldn't open.
What impact does that have on a charity? Because does that have a cost impact? I'm just
going
to move that microphone a bit closer to you, but does that have a cost impact on you?
Yeah, I think at the time, obviously, there was all the furlough schemes and stuff like that, but we'd missed the cut-off point for that because I'd just employed maybe around 15, 16 new staff at that point, which were all due to start the following week on the 1st of April. So I think the cut-off point for furlough schemes and stuff was the end of February. They extended it to mid-March, so none of that helped us. And obviously in terms of what we do, we needed people in the building and start getting out there, engaging young people, getting ready for opening, which initially was planned for June 2020. But we couldn't do that. So it was a case of all the inductions, the onboarding, the training, the development. We had to do all that online on Teams. I
suddenly realised why you don't want to do Teams.
Yeah, exactly. But we focused on what we could do rather than what we couldn't do. That was something we tried to instill in the young people when we did start coming out of lockdown. And we managed to open the end of September 2020. So we just celebrated our 5th birthday for HideOut Youth Zone a few weeks ago, as well as, like you say, opening the new Salford one in the summer.
We've kind of jumped ahead really talking about the lockdown and everything else. When HideOut was set up, why did you get set up and why what was the importance of HideOut?
So probably have to go back a few years again before HideOut Youth Zone to kind of give the context in that we're part of a wider network of youth zones nationally. So there's actually 16 youth zones open now across the country, all completely independent charities, but we all form part of what is a federated network of youth zones under the brand Onside Youth Zones. So Onside is a national charity that was founded back in, I think, 2008, 2007 by a philanthropist and businessman named Bill Holroyd. And the story basically goes that he was invited a few years before that to be the chair of Bolton Girls and Lads Club. Didn't really know what to expect. I'd never been in a youth centre like that. Seeing the impacts that it was having on the town of Bolton, and with his entrepreneurial mindset was like, this is too good to just have one of these. We need these initially across Greater Manchester, across the northwest, and then that ambition spanned to become across the country. So Onside Youth Zones was established to try and draw down capital funding from the region's private sector to then work with local authorities to develop these amazing state-of-the-art youth centres, initially, as I said, across Greater Manchester. So there was probably 4 or 5 youth zones developed: Wigan Youth Zone, North Manchester Youth Zone, Oldham, all in the space of around 3 years, up until 2011, 2012. So there was an established model that was emerging already with the youth zones. And it was Fred Doan, who was the major donor for HideOut Youth Zone and Salford. Had been
of Betfred.
the founder of Betfred, Solboy, Doris, etc. He'd been and had a business meeting with Dave Whelan, Mr. Wigan.
Yeah.
And David had invited him to go and look at Wigan Youth Zone because he'd been the major investor there. Fred tells the story far better than me, but he'd kind of, it was a winter's night, it was cold, it was raining, he'd already made an excuse in his head why he was going to leave after half an hour. Wasn't interested in going and seeing this youth centre, but he stayed for 3.5 hours, and he was blown away by not just the facility and what he saw, but by speaking to the young people, the staff, and particularly the volunteers. He'd never seen anything like that, where it's the impact it has and the passion people have for what they do there. That stayed with him for quite a few weeks. He went home, spoke to his family about it, it kept playing on his mind. And a couple of months later he says he marched into the town hall in Manchester to see Howard Bernstein, who was the chief exec at the time, to talk about his experience and what he'd seen, and to say, how do we do this in Manchester? I'm in, tell me how we get it done. And at the time, I was the head of youth strategy at Manchester City Council, so it fell to me. Howard pulled me in, explained what was going on. And that was where the idea of HideOut Youth Zone was born. We had to look at where the most need was in the city. We'd just gone through 6 or 7 years of de-investment in youth services. And now, that's right up and down the country, but particularly in Manchester. In 2011, we disestablished Manchester Youth Service, the local authority youth service. Went from a budget of around £15 million a year, 15 local authority maintained youth centres, 250 professionally qualified youth work staff. Within a year, all gone. No youth centres. Wow. The budget had been reduced to about 2 million, which is still there now. The local authority, Manchester City Council, still fund youth and play services across the city, but in a city like Manchester, when you go from 15 million to 2 million, we're still feeling the impact of that now. So there was a lot going on. We looked at the need in terms of deprivation, poverty, crime rates, education, health, but where there was little or no youth provision in the city, and Gorton and Longside, those neighbourhoods come out top of the charts for all those reasons. So once we knew the location where we needed to build the youth zone, we made it happen from there.
Before we move on to the Salford one, what impact did you see? Because if there's this theory that, well, not this theory, there's the news articles about kids, they're up to no good, but obviously they've got nowhere to go, nothing, and they talk about the sport and everything else that could be done to help them. Your youth zones provide all of that, don't they? And has that had an impact regionally?
It's had a huge impact in the city of Manchester, but regionally as well. I mean, our mission and our strapline is that we provide all children, young people with somewhere safe to go, something positive to do.
And what age group is that?
Trusted to talk to. It's 8 to 19s or up to 25 if they've got additional needs. Okay. So that could include disabilities, special educational needs, but it's also supporting care leavers, looks after children, young carers, all those children and young people that by the age of 18 they're adults, and statutory services for children stop. They still need that support into independent adulthood, so we'll be there for them until they're 25. But we provide over 20 activities every night. We're open 7 days a week. Whenever schools are closed, the bank holidays we're open. The only day we officially close is Christmas Day. There'll be other days throughout the year where we're doing training and development, but we're committed to staying open every day. And the facilities, I mean, you come to the opening of Salford Youth Zone, so you've seen what they're like. It's hard to articulate and explain until you come and see it.
Well, hopefully I'll be able to. I'll speak to someone who. We'll put some video up and show what it can be done. But this is not just like, I mean, in Salford, for example, you've got climbing walls, you've got paddle, you've got boxing, gym. Amazing gym, to be fair. You've got rackets and basketball and all sorts of those kind of things, and that was just the ground floor. And the external football pitch. I'm assuming this is very similar in HideOut as well, but
exactly the same.
and then you've got an upstairs bit which I didn't get through to, but I'm assuming that's all classroomy kind of
No, so
engagement as well, is it?
there is some classroom-based activity, but upstairs we've got an arts and crafts room. So we don't want to just focus on physical activity and sport. We want to focus on the creative side of young people as well. We've got what's called a maker space, which we're working in partnership with the University of Salford, because they've got a state-of-the-art maker space as well, which is all things tech and STEM, engineering, 3D printers, stuff like that, trying to get young people engaged from a young age in STEM and technology, because that's where future jobs are in the region as well. We've got a health and wellbeing room, which is kitted out half barbershop, half hair and beauty salon. And the idea with that space is not necessarily learning how to do bridal makeup or hair braiding. It is that as well, but it's a space where young people feel comfortable talking. Because if you think about barbershop culture, or you think about when you go to get your hair or your nails or your makeup done, you're talking about what's going on in your life, you're talking about relationships, your friendship groups, what's going on in the community. So that space is more a safe space where young people can disclose more sensitive information. A lot of our safeguarding work happens in there. We might be doing workshops on sexual orientation, healthy relationships, bullying, stuff like that. So a lot more sensitive issue-based youth work happens in that space. So that's probably one of the key things I always stress to people is we're not a leisure centre for young people. So we've got all these amazing facilities, but they are just the hook and the tool to engage young people in building a trusting relationship. So whether it's the gym, whether it's the arts and crafts room, that space might be the activity or the thing that interests a young person in coming through the door. But the members of staff, the youth workers in those spaces should know that losing weight and building muscle in the gym is our secondary outcome. The primary outcome, the purpose is to use that activity to build a relationship with them, and then you can support them in any area of their life that they might need it. That's what youth work is, that's what youth work's about, and it's completely voluntary engagement. So the young people come every night because they want to be there, they're not referred, they don't have to be there, they can come and leave at any point, and they can choose whether to have a relationship or a conversation with any of the youth workers. And that's unheard of when you think about child development, or even ourselves when we were younger. Every adult in our lives at some point was enforced upon us. We didn't choose our mum and dad or carer, we didn't choose our teachers or dentists or social workers. With a youth worker, that's sometimes the first adult that a young person chose to have a relationship with, and that's why it's so important. And we need more of it. We need more and more all the time. So yeah, to go back to your original question, huge impact in Manchester from HideOut Youth Zone. This year, again, just after we opened Salford Youth Zone, we reached 10,000, at the milestone of 10,000 young people we'd worked with at HideOut since opening in 2020, which is huge.
Particularly as some of that was during lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. We opened it in lockdown and I think we managed to engage 2,000 young people in the first year. Salford already, we have 4,500 members, and we've only been open since July. So we've doubled already the engagement rates that we had when we initially opened HideOut Youth Zone in Manchester. So it just shows the need in the city of Salford as well.
And I was going to say, you just mentioned it there as well. Going to ask that it is because obviously it's a privately backed, but it is a charity. It is a small membership fee so that they're almost it kind of has that belonging to people.
Yeah,
in a way.
so it actually used to be £5 a year to join the youth zone, and we quickly realised after the first year that was a barrier for a lot of the children and families that we work with. We've located these youth zones in areas of most need, and they're in the two neighbourhoods they're in are in the top 10% most deprived communities in the UK, not just in the region. So that £5 a year membership could be a barrier, especially if you look at culturally the demographics of the neighbourhoods we work in. There might be 6 or 7 siblings in a family. So
it adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we scrapped it. So since 2022, we don't charge for membership anymore. They pay 50p when they come in. So as long as they're a member, they pay 50p at reception. They can stay for as long or as little as they want. And again, if they haven't got the 50p, they can still come in. It's more when you pay for something, you respect it a little bit more, you take ownership of it. So it's like an informal, educative kind of transaction. And the food as well, we provide a hot meal every single night, good food. It reflects the local community, so you know the menu is diverse as the local area. So some nights it'll be jollof rice and fish, other nights it'll be jerk chicken, rice and peas, other nights it'll be lasagna and chips. But that's free, we don't charge for that. Again, so that we know every child who comes through our door gets access to a hot meal, because there's a lot of issues around food poverty in the communities that we're working in. Back in, if you remember, in lockdown, Marcus Rashford did the big holiday hunger campaign. We were partnered with that, but we realised that this wasn't just an issue in the school holidays, it was all year round. So we're providing a safe place for children, young people to come. We're making sure that they've got food in the belly so that mum and dad and carer don't have to be having that extra pressure on them. But they're engaged in positive activities as well, which ultimately aims to build their confidence and their self-esteem so they can go on and be successful in the future.
Because from what you're saying, this isn't just about the now, that old, getting them off the streets. This is more about the development and pushing them on so they...
100%, yeah.
I've spoken to one of your colleagues about getting them into careers, but also opening their eyes to what careers are out there as well.
Yeah, I'm doing that from, so we split our membership into juniors and seniors. So junior members are 8 to 12 year olds, senior members are 13 plus.
As someone who's slightly older than that, I worry what I would be called.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're definitely in the senior category.
OAP.
But we start doing that engagement around employability and employment and future career pathways from the age of 8. So for me, I've been doing this a long time. So there's a lot of investment and a lot of focus on engaging young people post 16, or when they're about to leave school, or maybe they become NEET, which means not in education, employment or training. And there's a lot of resource that goes into trying to get those young people into a positive destination. Now, for some of them, that'll work. But for a lot of them, it's too late. You need to start that work and start building that social capacity in them from the age of 8, 9, 10. So we've been doing that since we opened, and it's always great when you see, businesses will invite us in, like you've said, hey, try to get young people into the building here and see what goes on in MediaCity. If you could take 20, 16-year-olds into the office environment, the employees there and the young people will benefit from that. But when you take 28-year-olds into an office environment, it becomes a very different experience.
Yeah.
But that will stay with them. That will stay in their thought process right the way through adolescence, puberty. So by the time they're at that stage where they're choosing the next steps in life, they already kind of know what's available to them and what career paths are there.
Because by 16, you're influenced by your family, your parents, and people you know. Whereas if you're at 8, you're kind of the world's your oyster a bit, and you might not know some of the careers that exist, say in Salford, at MediaCity and beyond.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them don't exist at the moment that they might be going into, and it's kind of
the jobs
pushing those horizons,
10,
isn't it?
Years don't exist now. So, and it's that when you talk about social mobility and you talk about personal networks as well, we probably know enough people now within our personal and professional networks that if our children or nieces or nephews, grandchildren was interested in a certain career pathway, we will know somebody who knows somebody who can have a conversation. These families we're working with, the children we're working with, some of them are coming from 3rd, 4th generation unemployed families. They haven't got those connections. So when we build what we call our patron family, our supporters and our donors, yes, the finances are important in terms of allowing us to do our core business by opening the doors every day. But what's more important is the opportunities and the pathways that family of patrons can connect for these kids and these young people. And the patrons are bought into that. They really understand that and they've got behind it. So that's massively important for us. Is the support that we get isn't just financial, but it's the opportunities that are created for these young people.
I suppose you haven't necessarily seen it yet because in many times you're quite a young charity, but have you started seeing the horizons change, young people kind of looking beyond what they're expecting?
Absolutely. I mean, you're right, it's youth work is a long-term investment, and it's not impact and reactionary overnight. It takes a long time. But already, when I said earlier, we celebrated our 5th birthday for HideOut Youth Zone in September. We had a media campaign. It was across all the digital billboards across Manchester and Salford, but it was the stories of 5 young people who started as members at HideOut Youth Zone maybe when they were 11, 12 and are now 17, 18 and are at university, or they're employed, or they've set up their own businesses. So, and they directly link that back to their experiences and the opportunities that they had from HideOut Youth Zone, and that's just in 5 years. So imagine the impacts we're going to be able to have in another 10, 20 years.
And not only that, but I suppose the volunteers who are helping out are other people you're impacting through the youth zones, are you?
Yeah, it's the impact is right across the city, but definitely in the communities where we're based. So we now employ 143 people, just run payroll, so that's why that number's in there. So that's 143 new employment opportunities within the city across Manchester and Salford, and the majority of those employees are from the local area. We've created up to 50 to 70 volunteering opportunities across the 2 youth zones. A lot of those volunteers will transition into becoming paid staff. A lot of them don't. Again, when we celebrated our 5th birthday, we also celebrated our volunteers, and there was a volunteer who's been with us since day one, and he's still there now. I don't know how many times I've asked him if he wants to become a paid member of staff. He doesn't. He wants to volunteer because he was born and bred in the local community, and he's just passionate about what we do, and he's as passionate now as he was on day one. So yeah, it's that whole family and community that we're creating. That's what changes a place and makes a place. Like, it's not just about what we do with the children and young people.
We are sitting here at MediaCity.
Yes.
So we have to talk about Salford as well.
Yep.
That opened a month ago. July. You've also partnering, I think, with MediaCity and Landsec Futures as well. So talk to me. Let's talk about the opening. Why Salford and this? We're going to show the pictures. I'm sure that they'll give me permission. On the opening day, you had Jason Manford turn up. Yeah. You had the big man Fred Doan turn up. Eddie Hearn was there. We got him sparring with some of the kids who were absolutely beside themselves that he turned up. It was rammed full. You had bands playing, you had all sorts. It already seems to be making a massive impact, but why did you choose Salford? Was it because Fred's a Salfordian that Salford came up?
That was part of it, yeah. I mean, Fred said straight away as soon as we opened HideOut Youth Zone, if we realised the impact and the outcomes that I was telling him we were gonna achieve at HideOut, that he'd always want to do one in his hometown of Salford, where he was born and bred and never left. I didn't think it would be this soon, if I'm being honest. It was literally about 18 months after opening HideOut, he come to me and said, let's do it in Salford. But I'm so glad that we did. We approached Salford City Council. We were pushing open doors. The political support that we've had from both Manchester, but particularly Salford City Council, has been incredible. They put capital contribution, provided the site. They long listed, I think it was 8 sites at the time, worked with us to shortlist 4. We chose Pendleton and where it is located because it's a prime location. It's on the main artery in and out of the city centre, directly facing the university, which is going through a big regeneration scheme. Pendleton itself is going through a massive regeneration programme.
And if you're a MediaCity commuter, it is literally 2 minutes away, isn't it?
Away.
Yeah, so it's worth having
right in the heart of what is Salford city centre. And it's the perfect location in terms of visible. We're investing in young people, everybody can see it, but it's also the area of most need in Salford as well in terms of poverty, deprivation, crime rates, education. So we're hoping, we'll be at the heart of that regeneration and creating a better community and a better place for generations to come.
It stands out as a building as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's very different to some of the other youth zones, including HideOut in Gorton, but particularly the other 15 across the country, in that we started working with 10 young people from Salford 2 years before we even started laying a brick. So they worked with the architects, they worked with the interior designers, they helped me recruit all the staff because we wanted them to, it's their youth zone, it's not ours. But they'd been round and seen some of the other youth zones, and their feedback was they're amazing facilities, but sometimes they feel a little bit too colourful. And when you start getting to 16, 17, you'd almost be put off by it feeling too much like a play centre. So they designed this one to be more, in their words, bougie and sophisticated. So the aesthetics of the building are much more neutral and aimed at older young people. So you can kind of get that vibe. The building's black on the outside, it's charred timber. On the inside, it's all oak.
And the gym is very cool, isn't it? There's no way to, I think it's got Usain Bolt quotes on the wall. It's really dark in there as well, isn't it?
Sync with the music. And again, they were involved in all of that.
Yeah.
So
that's not a young person. That's a young person who wants to be an older person kind of vibe,
exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah, but we wanted to give them that sense of, if you go and pay £40 a month now to go in the city centre and use a commercial gym, this is what it's like. This is what you're going to get. So why should they not have that? Why should they not have the best? Why should they not be able to transition from the best quality stuff they're getting in the youth zone into what they will get as an adult? A lot of the children and young people in Salford and communities like Gorton and Longside don't see the city centre for them. So when we see all these high rises and tower blocks going up and all these amazing businesses or national governing bodies based in the city centre, it means nothing to these young people because they don't feel connected to it. So that's part of what we're doing as well. It's around raising aspirations and letting them know that you are Mancunian, you are Salfordian, so what's going on at MediaCity is for you. We'll bridge that gap and break those barriers down through the relationship we've got with MediaCity and other employers and businesses in the city centre to make sure you understand this is your city and you're the future of this city, and vice versa.
And I think as part of the partnership with MediaCity as well, you had a group came over we had the big national portrait thing at the front.
Yeah.
And what did they make of that?
It was incredible. So we were very, very grateful that through the relationship with MediaCity and Landsec, that National Portrait Gallery chose us as their charity partner for that exhibition, Untold Stories,
Yeah.
Frameless. So we were the charity partner for the period of that exhibition, which meant, we were at the launch, we could talk to partners and colleagues around what the Youth Zone was hoping to achieve, but it gave access to those young people to go over and engage in the exhibition at no cost. And it's amazing because I think I didn't know what to expect when I was going to it, and I was blown away, but more so by the stories that were told, because there's so many untold stories within communities like Salford and East Manchester of our young people. And one day our young people there'll be stories like that about them. They will change their communities, they will change their city, they will change the world, but they just need those opportunities. So to be part of something like that and be inspired by people that look like them and come from similar backgrounds, who have gone through challenges and traumas in their life to achieve what they've, Nelson Mandela and Amy Winehouse and the other people that were part of that story, that there's no reason why the young people of Salford and Manchester can't achieve what they've achieved. So it was more than just like that transactional, this is happening at MediaCity, come and be a part of it. It was the meaning behind it as well, and that's what we're trying to really create, meaningful opportunities and experiences for young people.
And we've been talking to you guys about podcasting and content and things like that, because obviously this generation particularly is all about creating content and showing that actually you're not that far away from what the guys in this campus are doing all the time. Absolutely. As a job.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one of the other spaces we've got upstairs in the Youth Zone, is the Media Suite, multimedia suite, which is, we've got podcasting equipment, photographer, film editing, movie making. So we've got young people already interested in this area as a career pathway or a hobby. And how do we turn that hobby and that passion into something that they can monetize or become a future career? Because again, some of them don't see it as a future work opportunity or employment opportunity. So.
And what's happened community-wise, because you're getting kids from all sorts of backgrounds all coming together. Yeah. Has it helped with cohesion? Has it impacted on families as well? Or?
Yeah, so interesting you say that word, because on Thursday just gone, we've just won the Spirit of Manchester Community Cohesion Award, which was even more important, particularly on that day, because of the horrible crimes that had happened in North Manchester that same afternoon. So we're very passionate and proud to be a place that brings young people of all different backgrounds and abilities together, no matter their faith, their religion, their ethnicity, their ability. The Youth Zones are a place they can come and engage in positive activities with people from all different backgrounds. So we celebrate our differences, but we also celebrate our commonalities and the things that bring us together. So we've got a whole list of activities throughout the month of October for Black History Month. We've got 2 events this weekend. In March we have community iftar, where we break fast together and celebrate Ramadan. We'll have Christmas activities, Pride activities throughout the month of June, and then in Manchester Pride in August. We've been and performed at Manchester Pride, and really celebrating what makes Manchester and Salford what it is, and that's people coming together from all different backgrounds and abilities. And you'll see that in the workforce as well. So try to make sure that the workforce and the volunteers are as diverse as the communities and the children and young people that we serve, because the young people need to see themselves in any activity or relationship that they might build.
And is that something that you can kind of show, and as that kind of from kind of Gorton, but also from Salford, is that something you can see beyond the centre, like kind of pushing out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the people that are coming together to work in the youth zones and then carrying that message out into the communities, the diversity of our supporters and partners that want to get involved, that will have an impact on what's going on in the wider city and community. And young people have talked to us about their concerns around issues in the community, and tensions and racism and different experiences that they're finding. So we can capture that and help them put that into a positive creative outlet, so that they can have a voice and they can share those opinions with political leaders, city leaders. We were at an event with Salford Youth Zone a couple of weeks ago called the Seldom Heard event, which is run by Salford CVS every year. It was at Pendleton College.
Yeah.
And it was a platform and opportunity for young people to speak to city leaders, business leaders, political leaders about what's going on in their communities. So it's much more than just coming into the centre and taking part in the climbing wall or football. It's about creating opportunities for them to have a voice and an impact on their own communities.
We talked about partnerships a lot. Obviously, this is not a cheap thing to run.
No, it's not.
And talked about the long term and how all of that kind of thing. How do you, if there are business leaders watching this or organisations watching this, thinking, how do we help? How do we get involved? What do they need to do? What should they be doing to
just reach out to us directly? We've got our patron campaign. That's where the majority of our funding comes from. 80% of our income comes from private sector funding, which is unheard of really when you look at youth work charities or smaller charities in general. We get some amount of funding from both local authorities, which we're very grateful for. But yeah, it costs £4 million a year now to run both youth zones.
So, as in two effectively two each.
2 million each. Yeah, it's a big operation now, and we're doing well. But we do need more support. We want to be here in 10, 20, 30 years. We're doing well financially at the moment, but yeah, we always need more support. So if you're interested in supporting us financially by creating opportunities for young people, whatever that might look like, just get in touch with us on the website or through the details through this podcast. Get you down to the youth zone. The most important thing I say is please come and see firsthand what we do. And people will be visualising what a youth zone is now just by us talking about it. But in reality, it's hard to articulate it in words. You've got to come and see it. So I would encourage anybody who's interested or has been inspired by listening to this to either come to HideOut Youth Zone in Manchester or Salford Youth Zone. We'll give you a tour. We'll introduce you to some of the staff and volunteers, but hopefully directly some of the young people, and they will talk to you themselves about their aspirations and their ideas and how they would want you as businesses or individuals to get involved.
I was going to say, because while big businesses usually have a little bit more money, the small businesses and freelancers and organisations which are and creators are based here, it's also the fact that you kind of want their help to show what work is out there, what people are out there, and it also changes us as an employer's idea of what young people are capable of.
And that's so important. That's a really good point, because that's what we hear all the time. It changes the mindset when employers come in and they volunteer and they get involved in what we call takeover days, or they might volunteer regularly. It changes their perception of young people from certain backgrounds and certain communities, because they can see the potential, they can see, the aspirations of these young people, and then recognise that all they need is an opportunity and a chance. So it works both ways. It's not kind of please feed the poor kids of Salford, and it's an old school charity transaction. It's not. There's economic and business benefits to you as an employer or as a partner getting involved in what we do as well.
Fab. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And what before we wrap this up, what's next for you? Because you've got these two. Yeah. This one happened within 18 months of you deciding to do it. Are you bedding down with these two, or are you already kind of, I could go over there?
I think I wouldn't necessarily say we're proactively looking at developing another use, just because of the costs, and we want to make sure that we're financially secure long term into the future, so we don't end up in the same situation as we did with youth services 15 years ago. But there's always opportunities and discussions coming our way. I think people have seen now that we're a very well-run charity. We're having really huge impact on both communities that we're working in. So, yeah, there are different discussions going on about how we could maybe develop smaller scale projects, satellite projects, support some of the other infrastructure within the voluntary sector and the youth sector across Greater Manchester. But we're not proactively looking for anything at the moment. We want to bed down and make sure that what we're doing remains high quality and we're not diluting, what we're doing at HideOut and Salford for now. But you never know.
Well, thanks ever so much for your time, and really good luck with it. And I can't wait to see what some of these young people end up doing as a result of your work with them. Before we go, though, the best last word is from you. Give us the website URL, and then people can go onto it.
So it's www.empoweryouthzones.org, all one word.
Fab. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is MediaCity is a 39 Pictures production on behalf of MediaCity, and in partnership with the University of Salford, and all the people behind the camera, behind the microphones are graduates and undergraduates from the university. Now, you can watch and listen to the next one next Friday when we have another brilliant guest. And remember to like, subscribe, comment and share, and we will see you next week. The production team are Meg Bond, Tegan Easton, Akila Hewitt and James Young.